Random House Audio presents The Aquitaine Progression by Robert Ludlum. Read for you by Rob Shapiro. Part 1. 1. Geneva, city of sunlight and bright reflections, of billowing white sails on the lake, sturdy, irregular buildings above, their rippling images on the water below, of myriad flowers surrounding blue-green pools of fountains, duets of exploding colors, of small, quaint bridges arching over the glassy surfaces of man-made ponds to tiny man-made islands, sanctuaries for lovers and friends and quiet negotiators. Reflections. Geneva, the old and the new, city of high medieval walls and glistening tinted glass, of sacred cathedrals and less holy institutions, of sidewalk cafes and lakeside concerts, of miniature piers and gaily painted boats that chug around the vast shoreline, the guides extolling the virtues and the estimated value, of the lakefront estates that surely belong to another time. Geneva, city of purpose, dedicated to the necessity of dedication, frivolity tolerated only when intrinsic to the agenda or the deal, laughter is measured, controlled, glances conveying approval of sufficiency or admonishing excess. The canton by the lake knows its soul. Its beauty coexists with industry, the balance not only accepted, but jealously guarded. Geneva, city also of the unexpected, of predictability and conflict with sudden unwanted revelation, the violence of the mind struck by bolts of personal lightning. Cracks of thunder follow. The skies grow dark and the rains come. A deluge, pounding the angry waters taken by surprise, distorting vision, crashing down in the giant spray. Geneva's trademark on the lake, the jet d'eau, that geyser designed by man to dazzle man. When sudden revelations come, the gigantic fountain dies. All the fountains die. And without the sunlight, the flowers wither. The bright reflections are gone, and the mind is frozen. Geneva, city of inconstancy. Joel Converse, attorney at law, walked out of the Hotel Richemont into the blinding morning sunlight on the Jardin Brunswick. Squinting, he turned left, shifting his attaché case to his right hand, conscious of the value of its contents but thinking primarily about the man he was to meet for coffee and croissant at Le Chat Botté, a sidewalk cafe across from the waterfront. Re-meet was more accurate, thought Converse, if the man had not confused him with someone else. A. Preston Halliday was Joel's American adversary in the current negotiations, the finalizing of last-minute details for a Swiss-American merger that had brought both men to Geneva. Although the remaining work was minimal, formalities really, research having established that the agreements were in accord with the laws of both countries and acceptable to the International Court in The Hague, Halliday was an odd choice. He had not been part of the American legal team fielded by the Swiss to keep tabs on Joel's firm. That in itself would not have excluded him. Fresh observation was frequently an asset, but to elevate him to the position of point, or chief spokesman, was, to say the least, unorthodox. It was also unsettling. Halliday's reputation, what little Converse knew of it, was as a troubleshooter, a legal mechanic from San Francisco who could spot a loose wire, rip it out, and short an engine. Negotiations covering months and costing hundreds of thousands had been aborted by his presence. That much Converse recalled about A. Preston Halliday. But that was all he recalled. Yet Halliday said they knew each other. "It's Press Halliday," the voice had announced over the hotel phone. "I'm pointing for Rosen in the Comtech-Byrne merger." "What happened?" Joel had asked, a muted electric razor in his left hand, his mind trying to locate the name. It had come to him by the time Halliday replied. "The poor bastard had a stroke, so his partners called me in." The lawyer had paused. "You must have been mean, counselor." "We rarely argued, counselor." Christ. I'm sorry. I like Aaron. How is he? He'll make it. They've got him in bed and on a dozen versions of chicken soup. He told me to tell you he's going to check your finals for invisible ink. Which means you're going to check because I don't have any and neither did Aaron. This marriage is based on pure greed, and if you've studied the papers, you know that as well as I do. The larceny of investment write-offs, agreed Halliday, combined with a large chunk of a technological market, no invisible ink. But since I'm the new boy on the block, I've got a couple of questions. Let's have breakfast. I was about to order room service. It's a nice morning. Why not get some air? I met the president, so let's split the distance. Do you know the Chapotet? American coffee and croissant. Quai de Mont Blanc? You know it. How about 20 minutes? Make it a half hour, okay? Sure. Halliday had paused again. It'll be good to see you again, Joel. Oh? Again? You may not remember. A lot's happened since those days. More to you than to me, I'm afraid. I'm not following you. Well, there was Vietnam, and you were a prisoner for a pretty long time. That's not what I meant, and it was years ago. How do we know each other? What case? No case. No business. We were classmates. Duke? It's a large law school. Further back. Maybe you'll remember when we see each other. If you don't, I'll remind you. You must like games. Half an hour. Chapotet. As Converse walked toward the Quai de Mont Blanc, the vibrant boulevard fronting the lake, he tried to fit Halliday's name into a time frame, the years to a school, a forgotten face to match an unremembered classmate. None came, and Halliday was not a common name. The short form Press, even less so. Unique, actually. If he had known someone named Press Halliday, he could not imagine forgetting it. Yet the tone of voice had implied familiarity, even closeness. It'll be good to see you again, Joel. He had spoken the words warmly, as he had the gratuitous reference to Joel's POW status, but then those words were always spoken softly to imply sympathy, if not to express it overtly. Too, Converse understood why, under the circumstances, Halliday felt he had to bring up the subject of Vietnam, even fleetingly. The uninitiated assumed that all men imprisoned in the North Vietnamese camps for any length of time had been mentally damaged, per se, that a part of their minds had been altered by the experience, the recollections muddled. To a degree, some of these assumptions were undeniable, but not with respect to memory. Memories were sharpened because they were searched compulsively, often mercilessly. The accumulated years, the layers of experience, faces with eyes and voices, bodies of all sizes and shapes, scenes flashing across the inner screen, the sights and sounds, images and smells, touching and the desire to touch. Nothing of the past was too inconsequential to peel away and explore. Frequently, it was all they had, especially at night, always at night, with the cold, penetrating dampness stiffening the body and the infinitely colder fear paralyzing the mind. Memories were everything. They helped mute the sharp reports of small arms fire, which were gratuitously explained in the mornings as necessary executions of the uncooperative and unrepentant. Or they blocked out the distant screams in the dark, of even more unfortunate prisoners forced to play games, too obscene to describe, demanded by their captors in search of amusement. Like most men kept isolated for the greater part of their imprisonment, Converse had examined and re-examined every stage of his life, trying to understand, to like, the cohesive whole. There was much that he did not understand or like, but he could live with the product of those intensive investigations, die with it if he had to. That was the peace he had to reach for himself. Without it, the fear was intolerable. And because these
Sample complete. Ready to continue?